send those over to you as well. We make those right before, like on Sundays.
Cool. Yeah.
You can feel free to add those if you want. And boom, we are live. Cool. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wolf Stream. Welcome to some trading education, talking about various things on the charts. Some of the smartest people in the world mark things up and write lines on charts. And people say they don't do anything, but we're here to prove them wrong a little bit here. And also do a little bit of Q&A. If there's any tokens or things you want us to look at, definitely throw that in the chat. So Hunter is already primed and ready to go since before the stream even began. Hunter, appreciate you, man. We got Dom in here, order flow trader, expert in the markets, been charting it up for a few years now, calling for things that saved a lot of people a lot of money in the last few months, actually, genuinely. If you were in our streams and spaces and not that you need to take every piece of advice he gives, but there were some takes he was having that were contrary to a lot of the conversation we had prior. And I certainly saved some money, and a lot of people did as well. And it was good because he basically front ran a lot of the conclusions people arrived at in the last 4 weeks, about 8 weeks ago. So it was really, really good stuff. So if you highly recommend you jump into these streams and spaces that Dom joins. He's got his own YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe to him over there. But we got Dom in the house today. Dom, how's it going?
Doing good, man. Yeah, doing awesome. I think that, we've seen better days in the market, though. But, as you touched on, you're definitely right that, it's a lot of the things that, myself and a few others were kind of looking at the last few months. Seems like it's starting to become more of a consensus idea, like maybe the cycle is broken or, maybe we're not going to have the same type of alt season. And, the last 2 months, I was definitely pretty heavy on like, be sure you're holding altcoins that are, sustainable or that are at least outperforming the rest of the market, or else, you're just going to be left holding the bag. And of course, most of these altcoins have just gotten shredded. So a lot different type of environment we've been in here.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. And you and a couple others actually DM'd me recently saying, we got to pay attention to Litecoin a little bit. So talk to me about, maybe if people don't know, Litecoin's super, super OG. But talk to me a little bit about Litecoin and then why maybe people are starting to talk about it and focus on it a little bit.
Yeah, totally. It's a very interesting thing, to be honest. Like if you rewind back to, say a year or two ago, and you told people, hey, the best coins to hold will be XRP, will be Litecoin, and will be Monero. If you zoomed back into right now, it really is the truth. And it's just funny because if you asked any of the OGs or really anyone in this market that's been around in a few cycles, they would have laughed at you. They would have literally laughed at you. And sure enough, those three coins, even though they didn't give the strongest pumps, throughout, maybe XRP did, but like Litecoin and Monero, they didn't give these crazy pumps. What they've done is they've essentially like held and been sustained. And I'll pull them up here. And it's like, what's more important in this environment, to protect your capital or to, have these crazy gains? And in my opinion, it's protect your capital. That's the most important thing. And like, look at the Monero chart. I mean, this is like something you see out of a movie. So, at least when you see the rest of the market, the way it's acting, Monero since the election, it's up, about 70% still. So you could say, well, this coin went up 400% or this coin went up 300%. But the idea is that this is sustained, at least as we speak right now. This is completely sustained. And then same thing with Litecoin here. If we look at Litecoin, we just pull up Litecoin here, same concept. It's like most coins are actually trading down here, relatively speaking. So this is a very interesting thing. And to be honest, I think it caught 95% of people off guard. And I know pretty sure that 99% of people that are on X or on Twitter, they are not holding these coins. So that's what makes them even more interesting, is like, these are the most OG coins there is. I think Litecoin, I don't know if it was like the second, but it's the only coin that's still around that was second created after Bitcoin. It's even older than XRP. It's way older than Ethereum, older than Monero even. So this is an interesting thing. And the only thing I could really take at face value is the ETFs. For whatever reason, maybe there is a potential front running attempting to happen here with the potential Litecoin ETF. And just like I said, if we pair these against, if I go over here and, we scroll down the list and kind of just look at like Ethereum against the total crypto market cap, or sorry, the total 2 crypto market cap, We have XRP here, which obviously has been one of the stronger ones. We have Sol, which is breaking down now. And then a lot of these have just been bleeding. If we go on a shorter time frame here, we can see that these have just continued to bleed against the general market. And if we pop over here to something like, well, we can see DOT. Like, here's a great example. DOT since the election is down 50% against just the general index market. And then look at Litecoin. It's like, wow. Like, wow. Litecoin it's got something behind its back right now. And it's a really interesting thing. So whether the market gains its footing now or later, I believe Litecoin is going higher, just the way that the structure moves. And also, too, let's look at Monero. We could see since December, which is funny, this is when the general market actually bottomed. So this is when the general market topped. Most altcoins topped like the first week of December. We have Monero up 80% since then. And it's like, who could have seen this coming? It's a very, very interesting thing. And yeah, I don't know what to make of it very strongly, besides just the concept that, there's not many people that are trading these coins. So that there's not much sell pressure, sell pressure, should I say. And more so, I think that the only other explanation, if we try to look at a fundamental explanation, it's really just the ETFs. I mean, what do you think? Do you have any thoughts on it, Gabe?
Well, there's a few coins that now have basically rumblings of the ETFs, and I think that what you'd said a while back, which is that the ETFs are pretty much the reason BlackRock is the reason that Bitcoin's even at where it's at. And it's interesting that a lot of the alts are nowhere near where they should be if Bitcoin is at this point. It is weird because Ethereum has plenty of ETF, and I haven't checked all the numbers for ETF volume, but I guess it would make sense with Litecoin only because like I've not really heard anyone talk about Litecoin. In fact, most people said, yeah, it's dead, just give it up kind of thing. And I don't know. I've seen some people mention Cardano and some of these older coins, just saying I'm going to rotate back into these. It's got to be cold coin season again. Meme coins are done for. Like these 24-hour runners, or just people don't want to do it anymore. People are going to rotate into these, and I'm like, well, I don't know if that's really what's gonna move it here. You might be right in the sense that ETFs are potentially the only thing that could push something up 80% against the whole market. I don't see any other catalyst what it could be. I mean, if anyone else in the chat has any thoughts on what other catalyst it could be, I can't. I mean, my brain is struggling to think of anything.
Totally. Yeah, no, I'd love to see if anyone watched it in the chat, throw something in. That's really the only explanation. It's because, the only reason why I think it's important to look for an explanation is because the rest of the market's in the abyss. If the market was bullish, I don't think anyone would be looking at this. But it's like when we have, look at the others market cap, down, 45% since December. And then we go back to Litecoin and, since that exact time, Litecoin's up 45%. It's like, what's happening there? And as a trader, as an investor in this market, we need to always look at what's outperforming what, because if not, then, you'll be left behind in some different areas. So what I wanted to show here, I posted this last night, and, this is me kind of ignoring where the rest of the market is. But if we look at Litecoin here, it's pretty obvious that this is not how a top is put in. If we look back, I'm sure everybody can see here just price action wise. And as you guys know, price action is the fundamental of everything. If you're an analyst, if you're a trader, you need to first understand price action. That is by far the most valuable skill in the world when it comes to the trading and just general market analysis. And price action shows that, over the last 8 years, Litecoin only puts in tops quick. So we could look back, look at every single one of these tops. You see how they're put in very quick, like just very, very quick, pump up and then retrace within, 2 weeks basically. And we can see right there as well. Then look at right now. I'm sure to the audience here, this doesn't look anything near the tops that we've had the last 9 years or 8 years with Litecoin. We can even go back farther. All of these tops are put in very quick. They're not put in with a bullish pennant, bullish flag type movement like we're seeing right now. So I don't know if this means, maybe the market's going down lower right now. That's another conversation. And Litecoin does this, but even so, this would continue to keep this consolidation structure intact. So honestly, I think Litecoin to like 180, 190 is inevitable. Just price action wise, it looks like. not crazy percentage, but let's see what that would be. Probably a 50%. Yeah, about 50% to about 180. So that's definitely a trade I'm keeping on my radar. I know a
What
lot
coin
of
do you think? What sector do you think Litecoin falls under for coins? Because I know the first thing people are thinking is, well, I missed the Litecoin pump, even though we just said it's got room.
yeah.
They say, okay, well, I want to make the other one that hasn't pumped. I wonder what category Litecoin falls under.
Yeah, it's basically the dinos. It's really the only thing that we could consider Litecoin is just a dino. It's still a proof of work. It's similar concept to Bitcoin, similar mechanics. I think it's got people mine it still. And we could see what's going on. Go look at the dinos here in the spaghetti. Dinos have actually held up pretty decently well. Taking away a few of them, look, TRX, XMR, Zcash, Litecoin, XRP. You can see that these over the last, few weeks have not really fallen the same way some of these coins down 15, 16, 20%, and then obviously the memes right here are down the worst. So yeah, it's really something that I think is, just a weird part about this cycle is we're seeing stuff like this. Like, who would have ever guessed? I'll just come back to that. Who would have ever guessed Litecoin and Monero and XRP would have been the best performers, technically speaking, if you look at drawdown over the last 3 months. So yeah, that's what I wanted to start off with. Let's see if anyone had any questions here. 210 said, you previously mentioned that only a few like XDC and XRP are good structure-wise. Can you talk about XDC as well? Yeah, I'll cover that. That's something I said yesterday that honestly speaking, there's only still a few coins that still have, general bullish structure intact. So let's take a quick look there. The reason why I say that is if we throw up the, let's see if I could get a chart here with some volume. If we throw up the VWAPs, mainly what I'm looking at here is the yearly VWAP. So if we look at the yearly VWAP and we scroll through a lot of these coins, Bitcoin's above it, but look at how far Ethereum is below its yearly VWAP. And that's kind of a good over-under. Same thing with XRP. Look at how far it is above its yearly VWAP. Here, Sol was actually just broke its yearly VWAP. Same thing with most of these coins. Like Doge is like right on its edge. ADA is right on its edge. TRX. And then look at how far AVAX is below its yearly VWAP. So anyone watching, if you haven't added my VWAP suite yet, definitely do that. It's completely free. You could just search it right up in your indicator tab here. Multiple VWAP suite. Throw it on there. And what I love to use in this is the rolling VWAP. So I got 3 rolling VWAPs. You could pick your time frame here. I like to use a monthly, a quarterly, and a yearly. And it kind of just gives me an over-under. When price is trading below these levels, it's bearish. Bears are in control. When price is trading above these 2 levels, the yearly and the monthly, it's bearish. Bears are fully in control. So that's just one of the things I looked at with XDC when I scanned the top 150. XDC, along with a few other coins, are still in a fine bullish structure as we speak. Of course, that can change. And to be honest, this doesn't really look the best. And now that I look at it again, looks like we broke our uptrend over the last 2 months, and we flipped that to resistance. So yeah, I mean, not too much I can say about XTC, rather than just it's one of the better performers. It's up 500% since the election. So yeah, it's a very, very sporadic market. And a few live streams ago, I think we talked about this list I made, this top 150 divided by total 2. This has been a savior for a lot of people. I've had a lot of DMs, people saying that they found trades off this, or, they were able to identify strength or weakness. And we can see right now, what's outperforming the market. We see Bitcoin Cashes, Litecoin, SHIB. We could just go through and say, what's really underperforming the market. Link, for example, down 4% against the market. When I say the market, this is the altcoin market. So it's kind of a good gauge.
Very nice. Yeah. Yeah, one thing you'd mentioned, you mentioned all the time. I think it's good advice, especially in this kind of market. It's like you said, it's impossible to. Who would have known that Litecoin would just pump out of nowhere? But you can't hop on strength, and that seems to be the only way you can trade this market. And therefore, you have to know TA. You just have to be able to. And so, like you said, just following price action, just studying. One thing for beginner traders as well. A lot of coins move differently. So like you showed with Litecoin, it tends to move up like this and then come down if it's going to be a top versus consolidating. You're like, that's not a typical price structure for a top, which means there could be room to continue to run. In crypto land, at least, do these things tend to move similarly, or is every coin totally different? Does it change by sector? Because I know in stocks, a lot of people mention that it's not the same across the board.
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. In my opinion, back then, they used to always kind of move identical. But now, these coins do not move the same at all. Like the way Litecoin trades is way different than the way XRP trades. The way XRP trades is way different than the way Ethereum trades. Like you need to, and that's a good segue into what I was just telling a few of my buddies that were starting to get into trading is pick a few coins that you want to trade. I see a lot of people get into this market and they just kind of, they pull up their watch list with, 300 coins and then they're like, oh, this one looks good. And it's like, sure, you could find success doing that. But some of the best traders I know, they trade like 3 assets. And the reason why, and some of even the better traders I know trade 1 asset. There's people I know that just trade gold. There's people I know that just trade Bitcoin, just trade the NASDAQ, just trade S&P 500. Yep. So for anyone watching, if you are leverage trading and you've hit a wall or you've seen some losses recently, maybe it's of benefit to just focus on a few coins. Go really study how coins move. Go look at them on a 1-hour chart. Just go compare, the top 50 to each other. See which coins resonate with you and pick a few coins that you trade. And when we're in an up-only environment, which we saw in November, sure, those are the only times I think you could trade, a wider range of coins because then you have multiple opportunities. But in these type of environments, if you're scalping and whatnot, I really think that you should be focusing on 3 coins max. I really find that to be a super useful thing for many people. So I just wanted to throw that out there that yes, these coins move very differently nowadays. 2021, 2017, not at all. These coins almost moved identical. Most coins were like, they literally looked almost the exact same. And now it's like we have, Litecoin that looks completely different than say DOT. Let's pull up Polkadot versus the Total 3 right here. And then let's pull up Litecoin. It's like, look at the last few months here. We have DOT, we have Litecoin. Like these are completely different coins trading the complete opposite. So yeah, this is as I said, the last few streams, this market is a lot more difficult now. There's a lot more players involved. And, to really think that, to really think that you could just get in this market and, just throw money anywhere and make money, those days are over, in my opinion, guys. And it's not to be like the bearer of bad news. It just means like if you want to make money in this market, you need to be very selective on the assets you hold, and you need to probably put in hundreds of hours learning how to trade these markets properly.
Yeah.
Well, go on.
Well, I was going to say one thing, and then I think there's a couple questions here as well, but that was literally going to be one of the main questions I asked was like practical takeaways for traders, especially if they're like, okay, I think I have enough information. I'm down for watching price action, but I don't know which coins to choose. I don't know how many. So that was a great bit of advice, just choosing 3. Do you also have any, there's a couple of girls on like mainly I see them on Instagram, but they're like day traders. And one of them, I think her name is Tori, but she just does trend lines and she trades platinum. And she's like, it just works. She's like, platinum just works. And she's like, it works with trend lines. So I just stick with that. And I was like, that's the only thing you trade? I was like, what if there's not a play? And she's like, I just don't trade. And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I know exactly who that is. Tori trades. She just trades off trend lines and she's had success with it. And I'm not going to sit here and say trend lines are going to be the end all be all, but as we talked about last stream, I think I covered how powerful trend lines were and how I used it to kind of predict the 15K bottom on Bitcoin. But onto that point, look, she trades gold and platinum mainly. I think that she trades mainly gold and platinum. And that's just one great example of someone that, you might not have trades every day, but once you get your setup, on those few coins, you could really go in with high conviction. So 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe throw up a few questions there. I see.
Yeah. Here's one from yes, asking about short-term predictions on Bitcoin. Do you think 90K holds or we drop further to fill the CME gap? It's a pretty big gap right there too. We're kind of on the edge of a cliff for some of these coins, but I know a lot of people are wondering about Bitcoin. We talk about it on the Market Talk Spaces as well, and it's tough to predict what it's going to do, but let me know if you have any thoughts on this.
Yeah. I'll definitely touch on Bitcoin. I was going to do a little bit of a market analysis as well, of course. So,
yeah, let's do it.
If anyone joined my stream last week, I basically said that, Bitcoin was trading below its 21-day EMA, its 50-day EMA. If we could wait for this to load here, essentially those are two levels that, you don't really want to see price fully accepting below. We could see this orange line right here is the 50-day EMA. See, we held it there, lost it, held it quickly, and then we lost it here. And I know we have a lot of lines on here, but they're all useful. So, and then we have the 21-day EMA. So I did this stream and I made a lot of posts right here saying that we should be cautious until this is regained. I saw a lot of people saying buy the dip. Saw a lot of people putting on risk. That was not a place to put on risk. The place to put on risk was if we regained all of those important levels. We have all of these major VWAPs here, the all-time high VWAP, this VWAP from this low, and they all coincided right here. And if I could take off these bands, maybe I'll make it a little bit cleaner here. Just give me 1 second. This also was the quarterly VWAP. So we can see this blue line right here, 3-month rolling VWAP. So, that's a really big level. We could see we haven't lost that since we basically, last time we were under that was back in September. So that was a level that we've held for a long time. And once again, when we lose these levels, especially a quarterly VWAP, that means bears are in control. So when bears are in control, do you want to be putting on risk? No, you should be cautious. And that's really what I've been saying the past 2 weeks is just be cautious. I've said that I don't have strong conviction, but what I have said is that this is a very important area where we should be very cautious. If you're trying to float up your ego to say you called the bottom, I see that happen a lot. And it's like, that's not really how you should approach the market if you're prioritizing risk management. So, just going back to what we saw here, the other level I've been watching is this election VWAP. We've been trading above this now. I made a lot of posts about this, and I'm like, how many times is this going to give us a bounce? And just today, we are now trading below it. That sits at 95.1, and this level is, in my opinion, super important. If I could pull up see if I have another clean chart here with just that quarterly VWAP. Yeah, right here. So, I posted this, and I said, how many times is this going to, give us a bounce? And right now we are trading under that. So made a post earlier today and I said, guys, very, very cautious now. We're in the area where a range breakdown could occur. I'm still not convinced whether this is going to be a deviation like that. Once we deviate, for anyone watching, this is going to be a beautiful long setup. So if you guys are watching, if you guys are trading, if this presents itself and we get that overside retest of this election VWAP, this is going to be a very good long setup. One of my favorite long setups that I'll play. I'll be targeting range highs right here, about 99K. But that obviously has not presented itself. Right. The other option here is a full breakdown, which that's something that I've given a lot of, I've given a lot of scenarios to where if that does happen, my target's like 86 to 85K. So just know that right now we are at that level where this can accelerate. This can accelerate very fast. After consolidating for 14 days, if this is not a deviation, we're in for some more blood. That is 100% true. We're in for some more blood. And, to keep it as simple as I can, we could just look at this election VWAP right here. It's like this orange line. Look at how many times it's held. What do we think happens when we lose it? If we're fully trading below that, that's the level where a big breakdown would occur. So in my eyes, I'm definitely continuing my bearish bias, of course. I've had it the whole time up here. I told us where we needed to regain. And as of right now, this is not looking good at all. This is really not looking good. And, really the only long setup I'd be looking for is either an 86, 85K, quick rundown like that. That'll obviously be a very, that won't be fun. That will not be fun to watch. But, that could be coming up here right now. Otherwise, I'm looking for a regain of this, basically this range low and this election VWAP. If Bitcoin could get itself back up here and present itself like that, this is going to be a great long opportunity with a stop below this low, targeting this for the first high, targeting this for the second high. So that's really all I'm looking at right now. Unless you're scalping, this is not an area to be putting on swing trades. It's not an area to be putting on a lot of risk, as I've been reiterating. And just more so, we see something like Sol broke down heavy. And that was not unexpected as well. I posted a video just about an hour ago. And I said that, this is this is exactly what I was looking for on Sol. So something like Sol tells me that, we might be in that area where Bitcoin is going to deviate, because if we go back to Sol here, we could see, or this is the wrong chart. If we go back to Sol over here, we could see we just hit our entire uptrend and we're trading below our yearly VWAP. For us to slice much further would be very odd. So to be honest, I'm really looking for reaction here for a Sol long back to about 190, because it looks like a good risk to reward to me. And of course, that's going to depend on whether Bitcoin deviates or not. So I still don't have a strong opinion. Besides, those are really the only two options I could look at right now.
But my question, all right, here's my question. If you go back to, well, you have Bitcoin up. So I could see the long opportunity. I think that was a lot of how I was trained how to trade and see the charts as well. But it looks way higher, way more likely that we break down from there for Bitcoin. For me, just on a personal take.
Yeah.
We have the double top there. It just looks ugly. Like every time we've tried to fight it, it just gets wrecked every time. Is there any other indicators that give any kind of confluence that we might long there? That might be a better option here at that point. Because I mean, every time I look at it, I'm like, I see the chance, and maybe it rebounds like a couple $1,000 up.
Sure.
And then we're going to get eaten up again. Like to me, it feels almost inevitable. It feels awkward to say that, but it feels inevitable that we don't go down.
Yeah, we've been talking about that in the space a lot, because the good news is muted. And I said to apply the auction theory, and the auction theory states we either need new information to move higher, or we need lower prices. If we have a bunch of people waiting to bid on an auction and nobody's bidding, what are they going to bid on? They're either going to bid on new information that what they're bidding on is worth something more than they thought, which would be a strategic reserve, or they're going to bid lower. So what happens is, we need to get to a level where buyers are interested. Maybe buyers just get interested at 93K. Maybe buyers are not interested until the 85, 86 region. But onto your point there, I can't show it on TradingView, but Trading Light, essentially what I'd be looking for is a massive amount of shorts be coming in without price going lower. So that is a good entry mechanism. That's called absorption. I'll use footprints and cumulative volume delta to be watching the reaction down there, which honestly, if I wasn't streaming right now, I probably would be doing exactly that. I'd be watching the tape, listening to the tape, seeing the type of trades, the velocity of trades coming in, seeing what they're doing to price. Because a lot of the times when we hit lows, what happens is a bunch of shorts come in, but price does not go lower. Because what happens is that there's a passive buyer on the other side absorbing all of that sell pressure. And that's what leads to reversals. Whether it happens right here or right here, that's really what leads to reversals, is a bunch of people aping into longs up here. Price can't go higher. That right there is absorption at the highs. Beautiful short signal. Same thing right down here. If we're looking at Bitcoin, we're listening to the tape, and the tape is the time in sales, like the trade feed. And we're seeing a bunch of shorts coming in, but price refuses to go lower. That to me is one of my most important and effective entry criteria, is to say, okay, there's passive buyers here. They're not letting this go lower. And what's going to happen is all of those shorts that entered down here, once they see price start rebounding, what do you think they do? They start covering. They start selling out their shorts. And if anyone watching doesn't know, when you have to sell your short, you have to buy back. And when you have to sell your long, you have to short. So that's also what happens in liquidation cascades. A bunch of longs built up right here. That now price is moving down. People's stop losses start getting triggered. What happens? They have to sell their positions. So that causes a cascade.
So fast too. It's like, phew. It's 100%. Crazy how fast it can happen.
Yeah, it's something that is, makes crypto really fun, but really not the most fun if you're on the other side of that. So yeah, that's really what I'm looking for my deviation scenario. What I would be looking for is honestly, like even right now, if we're seeing a bunch of shorts come in and prices refusing to go lower, and this doesn't have to happen right here. It can even happen right here, and also too, on top of that, I'll be looking for resting orders in the book. So Trading Light, I'll be looking at the order books saying, okay, do we have a bunch of stacked bids somewhere? Because if price goes down in there, and what happens if a bunch of shorts come in and fill all of those stacked bids and then price just stalls, that is one of the best entry criteria as well. Because that means that all of those passive bids got filled. And what's going to happen now? Probably there's no more sell pressure. They absorbed it all. The price is just going to revalue right back in that order book that it just cleared out. So yeah, if let's see if a few of the other questions I had agreed with ETF rumors, but also Bitcoin ETH is no longer for retail. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So maybe people are looking at Litecoin as the retail coin now, or XRP as the retail coin. But again, we see Ethereum. Ethereum had, look at how much buying pressure, at least, a few hundred million from the ETFs. Nobody cared. So it's really a hard time. It's definitely a hard time. And then let's see what Augusta said here.
Yeah.
Partially agreed. I think.
Oops. Where'd it go?
Yeah, we're seeing it there. Until it hits 1 million after that point, it's going to be a very hard to buy one. Have to be less overroom. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what he meant there, but let's see. He said he saw the Bitcoin at 79K. Yeah, that's divided by total too. So that would be, altcoins would probably be down 40% right now.
Oh, here's maybe what he meant. So kind of long term, he says, I have a goal of owning 1 Bitcoin. Do you think it still makes sense to have this goal? Or maybe another target? You think supply shock might hit sooner rather than later?
I think it's still a good goal, 100%. As I've stated many times, I don't think this cycle's over, and I don't think we're even in a cycle. Of course, we're always in cyclical nature, but the 4-year cycle that ends in, whatever, October, December, unless Bitcoin just goes on a complete tear to like 160, over the next 3 months, I'm not convinced that this cycle is going to be that. So I still believe Bitcoin's going higher without a doubt. Do we think that, all this is going to be happening in the government? All these regulations, Saudi Arabia buying, 45 billion in ETFs. We could just keep going on and on and on. Do we think that that's going to just mark a top for years? Nah. That's mid curving it, in my opinion. People say, well, this time's different. Those are cycle top signs. I don't believe it. I totally don't believe it. I still believe that this market's going higher. I don't know if it happens next month, if it happens in 6 months, or if it happens in December, but I'm fairly convinced that this market's going higher. So I definitely believe stacking, 1 Bitcoin or whatever is still a good long-term thing.
Keep Dom on stream until he's not allowed to leave the stream until 86K with reversal strength. That's funny. That is really funny. So we can watch a pro execute a legendary trade. Dude, I mean, he was when I forget what it was a couple weeks ago when crypto just got wrecked overnight and everything was getting killed. He actually, if you follow him on Twitter, he literally posted his like 5 billion X long that he put on XRP at like the literal bottom of that wick, and it's shot straight back up. That is like as close as you're going to get, Hunter, actually. So be sure to follow him on Twitter, because the chance of him catching it live on YouTube are probably a bit shorter than him being able to lock in a trade and then let people know on Twitter. He's really good about updating a lot of his trades and his setups and things like that. But that was one of the coolest. That was probably one of the only times I've seen someone basically live update a tweet, a trade, and then him not even be closed out of the trade. Like, he put that out there and doesn't know if he's going to get it, but he thinks he will. That was like a good example of that.
Totally. Yeah, that's funny he says that, because that was one of the reasons I actually entered that trade. So if we go back to XRP here, when this happened, going back to exactly the setup I was telling you guys, this is going to give me a second to go back on a 1 minute. Let's see if we got enough data. But essentially, why I entered that trade, and that was one of the biggest percentage trades I ever executed in my life, actually, it was just being at the right place at the right time. So what happened down here, guys, is I was listening to the tape, which sounded like warfare. Like the amount of selling that was coming through, and I mean, it was tremendous. What happened is we had so much selling coming through here, so many shorts entering, and there was a bunch of bids stacked on Binance all right here. I remember this clearly. So I was looking at the Binance book. We had bids stacked all like this, and they literally looked exactly like this. And what happened is, right when we started entering those bids, the selling started accelerating. So accelerating. And then we hit this brief pause where the tape kept going. So meaning sell orders kept flying in at rapid pace, but XRP was no longer going down. And then within like 2 seconds, it bopped back up and made this entire move just like this. And that was my entry. My entry right here was 191. And that was why I saw it, as I essentially saw that absorption. And for anyone watching, that's one of the best entry criterias if you're looking at order flow, is to be listening to the tape, watching the tape, watching the order book and watching and listening to the pace of orders and how price is reacting. Because people don't realize sometimes you see a bunch of buying, but price doesn't go up. Sometimes I see, and I'm listening and there's no buying, but price is going up. And that tells you how thick or how easy that order book is. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone watching here. But that really is one of the best entry criterias is absorption. And what you need for that is you need to be, in my opinion, I like listening. So I have Trading Light set up to where I have audible alerts. So I basically made a metric or a filter where a certain sell order above a certain level or a certain buy order above a certain level will make a noise. And those noises basically are going to give you that like audible feel for, the pace of the selling. So, you use that, and then you're also looking at footprints, and then you're also looking at the order book. And that really is one of the best things to, for shorter term trading, at least.
Yeah, that was insane, bro. That's big balls to make a trade like that and then to tweet about it before it closes.
Yeah, it was a good one. The thing is that doesn't happen a lot. That was
sure.
Like this was these are one of those opportunities where it's like this seeing XRP and all the market drop this much this fast. It was just such a given to get a 50% after like that. It was really awesome. So yeah, let's see what else anyone else.
Here's one from Frankie about open interest, and then there's one right below it about price action following, are we at a time that price action is dependent on news? There's a couple of questions here, so we can maybe hit on the open interest right now.
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest with you guys. Open interest used to be a very good indicator. Now, I don't use it. I really don't use open interest in my day-to-day trading. TradingView, I usually use Velo for this, but let's see. Okay, I think I made this. This is my own script. Let's see if I might have a problem here. Let me make sure that this script works here. Basically converted it to USD. Okay, awesome. Show as notional. Let's see if this shows up properly. No, I think I was working on the script, but I didn't fix it. Essentially, this is going to show us the open interest, I think, in coins. Or actually, no, this actually does. Let me just verify in Velo real quick to make sure we're getting at the right data. Yeah, we actually are. So what's happening right now is a bunch of shorts are entering. So we see how open interest is going up as price is going down. Shorts are entering heavy here. So this is actually one thing that I would use open interest for, combining with a bunch of selling at the lows, getting absorbed. What's going to happen here is shorts get very eager. They get very excited. They get very happy. They start piling in. And then once we get any little revival, they start puking. And puking means that they got to sell back. And when they sell back, it's going to inevitably lead for a little short squeeze that happens there. So not much to take from open interest. I used to use it a lot more, but as of right now, at least for times like this, it might be useful to say, look at how many shorts are entering. We had about $200 million of shorts entered just in the last hour, wow. just on Binance. So, it's a very interesting thing right there. But yeah, like I said, I don't take too much from open interest, to be honest. I really don't take too much from open interest. Let's see what add a lot of a support at the moment.
So a few questions in here. What do you think about this one? So you mentioned this cycle is different than previous bull cycles, or at least some of the details. You believe that we are at a time that price action is dependent on news.
Good question. I don't believe so. And the reason why is because look at all the good news. Where'd the good news come? All the good news came right here. I mean, we've had more positive news in this range than I've seen in like years. And look at Bitcoin. So what does that mean? It means that flows are the king. Who's buying, who's selling? News can only do so much. And when you see prices not reacting, that proves that we're not in a news-driven market. We are in a short-term headline-driven market, meaning when Trump does something or something quick happens, yes, if you're by your computer, you probably can get a very quick trade. But on the higher scale, no, I wouldn't be looking too far into news because, if you bought right here when David Sachs was live, saying that we're going to have crypto regulation, expecting this, you got taken out. You got completely taken out. So,
jeez.
Yeah, this is a very weird cycle, guys. I've been repeating it now for a while. Me and Kate have had probably hours of conversation about it. proving all the reasons why. This is just a bizarre cycle. It really, really is. So yeah.
There's Jacob. I see a few questions here. Jacob's mentioning, I'm not sure if you're able to pull up trading lights, but if you are, he said, would you mind just showing how that, wait, what does he mean? How that would look? How well it would look?
Maybe he can elaborate.
Yeah, Jacob, do you mind if you're still watching, let us know what you mean or what he wants to look at exactly. Trading light is lit. It is very, very cool.
Yeah, trading light is totally goated here.
XRP SEC has acknowledged the filing of a Bitwise spot.
Oh, interesting.
Really?
Little reaction here. Yeah, look at Bitcoin versus XRP. Wow, XRP. I mean, Bitcoin versus XRP. Well, that's good, but that's really not too much. We could look too far into.
It says these streams help me trade like a gentleman instead of a degen. Let's go. I love it. Appreciate you, Hunter.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Hunter. He's one of my good supporters.
Yeah, he comes in all the time to your stuff, bro. Yeah, I agree. You find people who are not moon boys and who've got experience and actually have data to prove especially if they make a claim that sounds outlandish, if they pull up actual data, those are people you want to check out for sure. If you're watching this stream, by the way, I messed up his handle in the tweet, the Twitter stream, but it's right there in the comment below. So if you're watching on X, you pull out of the stream, go to the comment right below. You can click TraderView 2 to follow Dom on X. And if you're on YouTube, just go to the description down below our faces, and you can click him and to go to his YouTube and definitely subscribe there. He does live streams there as well on his own, and follow his X as well. I highly recommend, because it's a lot easier to keep up to date with things that are going on as the market's moving really fast. It's just a lot easier on X. It's just not going to happen on YouTube most of the time unless we just happen to see it while we're on a stream.
Totally. Yeah, no, 100%. I see.
Oh, here we go. Left a comment.
Just what like say you trading light set up to be watching, listening to the shorts coming in, but the price not moving.
Oh, that's what he was asking about when you were talking about sounds and stuff.
Yeah, we could switch over to that. Just give me 1 second. Let's see what else. See URL. This is the standard on Twitter. Also, one of my great supporters. Thanks for tuning in here. He said XRP is holding up well now as Bitcoin trading mid 93K. You think we get a cascading sell-off as you stated earlier, but we're rounding on the charts. Yeah, to be honest, we're still in that area. So we can see this rounded sell-off here. One of the most dangerous patterns in all of crypto. I made a nice clip about this. I'm not sure if you saw that, Cade, but this is one of the reasons that was a potential, signal that the market was about to lose itself. And unfortunately, we're seeing that right now on XRP. So it looks eerily similar. And to break that, we need to kind of like do this. That'll break that curve sell-off. So no, we're still not in the clear here. And Bitcoin selling can accelerate. As I said, we are now trading under the election VWAP. We are under all major VWAPs over the last 3 months, basically. Let me see. I don't know what chart I even had that on. Or it might have been, was it this one? No. Or yeah, it was this one right here. So we could see, I have all the VWAPs here. This is like VWAP territory. I have like 150 VWAPs drawn here. And look what happened when we lost all of them.
Jeez.
You even could have had a good short right there if you're doing some shorter term scalping. Right when we lost that November 3rd, November 4th election VWAP. And then if we look here, it's like we also lost this uptrend. So as I stated like 2 hours ago, this is dangerous territory, guys. I see some people can say that this is support here, but we have to realize that we've been consolidating for 2 weeks. Either we're going to get the deviation that should be coming in here soon, or this thing's going lower, and it's going much lower. It's exactly what the cautionary scenario I've been talking about.
Yeah, and I think people are nervous as well because they're trying to figure out timelines. Like, well, actually, 2 questions here maybe. What do you have any specific time frames you normally trade in? Like, are you typically a swing trader? You're staying in a trade for multiple days. You can sleep on a trade, or are you in and out same day typically?
Yeah, so I usually trade on 2 accounts mainly. My main account is a swing trading account where I usually trade Bitcoin, XRP, Sol, Ethereum, XLM, Link, and Doge. Those are really the main 5-6 coins I trade. When the market's good, market has not been in a swing trading environment. So when that happens, I'm down on the 5 to 10 and below scalping Bitcoin. That's my other approach to trading. So recently, it's only been short-term trades here.
Just in Bitcoin too.
Yeah. I have not taken any trades besides Litecoin last night. those are really the only trades that I've been, you know, I mean, that's really the only way I approach the market is either I have swing trades that I'll hold for, you know, 3 hours, 2 days, 4 days. Sometimes maybe it'll stretch out to a week. The last time I held a trade for a week was XLM when it went from like 25 to like 50 cents. But since then, we haven't had those type of environments. So you don't want to be holding risk long in this type of environment is my best advice. So yeah, let's see. What else? What are your thoughts on the whole, or just put buy orders at 91K and 86? Can you show us on Trading Light?
Or most buy orders.
Yeah. Once we just to finish off here, we'll bounce over to Trading Light here in a second.
We got some.
What are your thoughts on the AI coins and sectors?
Interesting question.
Yeah. So, you know, to be honest, the AI coins have been very lackluster.
They have. Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, we could see Near's got great tech, but, you know, nobody wants to buy it for whatever reason. Maybe because of that little leak that happened.
It's so funny. We put out a post. I actually had an interview with David, who's probably was the orchestrator around the reaction of all that stuff. He's like he calls himself the shit poster. He works at Near Foundation, but we actually had him on a podcast a few months ago. And it just so happens we got some of the edits back. And it was so funny because one of them was quite literally about how to capture attention. And I was like, wow, this is perfect timing after what just happened. But yeah, I'm not sure what to think about that one. I'm not really a huge fan of that kind of marketing. I don't think that was planned. Everyone is on the fence on whether or not it was planned. I think that was a total blunder from a partner on Near Protocol, just happened to be on the stream. But you're right, dude. The AI coins have been very lackluster. I've just always been of the belief they're trendy. Like they're just like gaming. They're just like every other. They just trend up in a couple weeks or a couple months period, and then they go right back down because it's so like ahead. It feels like, even though some of the things are being built, in terms of the things that people can practically use, 99% of them aren't things being used today. I know people get excited because of Elon, and there's Grok 3 coming out, there's Optimus robots, there's all these things, but it still feels a little bit further ahead, and it still feels to me that AI is still going to be something that just trends up within a small period of time, and they maybe run up in those periods, but other than that, they're kind of just tracking alongside the rest of the altcoins.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the best way to answer this, guys, is exactly what I've been preaching now for a month or two, is go look at my portfolio or my profile. If you search top 150, you should be able to find this watch list. I shared it for free. I'm under the impression that, you know, I'm not someone who wants to pick these bottoms. You know, there's people saying, you know, this looks like a great time to buy. I heard that right here when I was on stream. I heard that right here when I was on stream. I heard that right here. And you know what my answer was? And for the people that have listened to my last 5 streams, you guys know my approach is I'll buy on strength. I will buy on a structure break. I don't care to pick the Pico bottom on these coins here. It doesn't mean anything to me besides a little ego trip. You know, the people that are trying to do that, just know that that's not a good way to approach the market, in my opinion. You don't want to be, you know, longing when you have no structure break. You don't want to be shorting when you have no structure break, vice versa. In this type of environment, you know, back to the AI question, they haven't shown any strength. So it's like, why should I be bullish on them? You know, that might be a more reactive approach, but in this environment, I think it's been proven that a reactive approach is the better approach. Sitting here and trying to predict all day, every day, like some of these people, feel free to do that. You might hit one and you could, you know, do your victory laps on Twitter. That's completely fine if you want to do that. But to be honest, I heard over the last month, people that are trying to buy each of these lows. And I said, no, you know, if this is AVAX, for example, if it shows a structure break and it has a move like this, this is where I'm interested in playing the trade. I don't care that I didn't get in down here. I don't care I didn't get out right there. I want the meat in the middle. That is my approach to this market is, you know, capitalize on the meat in the middle. So, you know, I'm really always looking at this. And if there's coins that are outperforming, sure, they have my attention. And right now, the only coins that are outperforming are XMR, Litecoin. We have OM. We have, you know, XDC still looks decent. XRP still looks decent. And that's really it. Like, there's really nothing else that has my attention right now, because why should it? You know, unless I'm trying to just pick this perfect bottom on these coins. So yeah. And then one other thing, I just wanted to give a little bit of education here. You know, this is my profile view where I use TPO. This basically shows time spent. So each of these blocks, if I zoom in, are 30 minutes. I basically made this composite since the election. And this composite has showed us well. Look, we consolidated for 2 weeks where? At the point of control. the point of control is the most time spent since, basically when you created the composite. So since November 1st, the most time Bitcoin has spent is at 96.8. And look, this is also why VWAPs are goated. And, I've been talking about VWAPs now for months, saying how awesome they really are. Look what happened here. If you just drew major VWAPs at major swing points, the orange one showed, where we needed to really regain to be back in a bullish area. The green ones were more short-term from our previous high. Look at how price reacted the whole time. If you're looking for longs here, why were you doing that? That's the question I have is people have different approaches, and I'm not saying anyone's is wrong, but it's like, if you use this type of analysis, you knew that you were getting involved right in the mid-range, the point of control. You're getting involved below all major VWAPs. I mean, we have like 50 VWAPs right here. You're getting involved below the quarterly VWAP, and you just got taken out. So that really, that should really drill down my approach of hop on structure breaks. And that doesn't mean to be a breakout trader, but that means, if you're a mean reversion trader, sure, that could be great too. But in this environment, at least the past few weeks, anyone who's trying to call for a bottom, saying we're going to go higher, there's just no EV in that, and that just right there proves it. So I wanted to bring that up real quick.
Yeah, and think about this, guys. If you're listening to the stream, you are quite literally PvP against guys like Dom, who are looking at all this stuff. That's the reason people are getting rinsed, is because there are high-level traders all over the place, and there are a lot of high-level traders who had certain structure or had certain strategies that worked, and some of them are refusing to change them, even if they think that things might be changing. And some people are saying we have to adjust our strategy. But either way, these are the thoughts that are going through his head, and the level of tools he's got at his toolbox. That's why you have to learn, because you just can't. You're not gonna be able to guess and beat someone who has all the data to back it up. That's why I keep bringing up these trading education streams, because people are gonna get cooked, and you have to be able to trade these things, and you don't have to necessarily know all the details that Dom's talking about and every indicator he's got that he's bringing up. But it's worth noting, that is the competition you're trading against. And Dom is not, the best trader in the entire world. There's other traders that are better. There's other traders that are, way lower. But that's kind of the competition. It's bloody out there.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And that's the other thing too is, I come across some people. I'm not singling out anyone, but there's people that act like they're the best of the best. Never believe you're the best of the best, because then you leave no room for growth. There's probably hundreds of thousands of traders that are better than me. So, and if I continue to believe that, that allows me to continue to grow. So never approach the market like you know everything. Never approach the market like you have this crazy edge that you think you think you have this crystal ball that can predict this and that. And yeah, I've made some awesome predictions, but that's probably more intuition and just experience more than technicals. Of course, the technicals add to it, but if you're in this market and you're newer to trading, my best advice is don't try to predict. We're on Twitter, we're on X. The whole consensus here is let's predict. Who can predict this? Who can predict that? Honestly, that's where people get taken out. People get taken out because they try to predict every single move. Don't try to predict every move. Be reactive. Let the chart tell you what's next. Don't sit here and try to predict. And that's why over here, I wasn't convinced this was going to happen or this was going to happen. I understood this was a level that bulls or bears could step in. I understood that we had multiple reasons to believe other things, but on top of it all, I did have a cautionary bearish bias. And that was simply based on trading below all VWAPs, trading below multiple EMAs. And sure enough, if I wasn't on the stream, I would have been scalping this short right here because that was an awesome short. I mean, beautiful short. We had all the confidence in the world right there. So yeah, I know we bounced around a lot on this stream. Honestly, not much to talk about because the market's been pretty bloody and pretty simple. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to throw them in. But if not, let me see if I could pop over here to Trading Light.
Let's do it.
And yeah, we could take a look here at the rest of the stuff. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're good. And while he's doing that, guys, definitely throw in some questions if you have any. Give him a follow. If you're on X, super easy. Highly recommend it. Let's see. How often do you use leverage? Do you use it to magnify buying power or to risk less of your money? That's a good question.
Yeah, 100%. So unless I'm doing spot holdings, I use leverage all the time. And to me, leverage is a tool. It's not a way for me to get rich quick. And it really still comes down to risk to reward and position sizing. So, maybe I actually wanted to touch on that, but it looks like I forgot. Let me see if I can just draw on Trading Light instead. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, let's see if this is, can you see the screen there fine, Cade?
Yes. Here we go.
Awesome. So this is usually not what I show on streams, just because I don't want to ruin this area, because this right here is the tape. So anyone who was wondering, this is the tape right here. And essentially I have Binance and Coinbase spot orders. I have them to where anything over 5 Bitcoin will create a sound. And I have anything over 1 Bitcoin will show. So I don't want to see the micro little orders. That's just going to provide noise to the tape. Same thing here for Coinbase. Anything over 5 is going to give me a sound. Anything over 1 is going to show up on the tape. And then this right here shows an awesome graph. So you can see when there's a bunch of selling or buying happening, it'll show you each second, it'll aggregate all of the trades and give you a delta of them. So right now it's pretty slow, but like sometimes when the tape's super fast, we'd be able to see like a bunch of orders, and it would kind of look like a bar chart, honestly. And this right here shows the highest of the entire graph you're looking at. So right here, this 26 means that within this 1 second, 26 Bitcoin were sold. So then for perps, anything over 15 Bitcoin, I have it make a sound. Anything over 2, it's going to show. So for anyone wondering, this is the tape. This is what I'll sometimes watch, and more so I'll listen to this. And this right here is obviously just the order book here. But what I wanted to look at here was, what I was going to say is I usually use this because I don't have all of those up here. But when I wanted to show, for those that were wondering, this right here is the footprints. This is how I have mine set up. So I won't go too into depth, but basically this right here is the footprint plus cluster. And what this is showing me is the buy and sell orders. So we could see right here 181 Bitcoin and 147 Bitcoin were sold into this resting buy order right here. And essentially what we're looking for is, see if I can find a good example. This will present a great example. So we could see all of these resting buy orders. See 97, 100 Bitcoin, 197, 107, 124. I look at the footprint here, and even up here, this was what, 500 Bitcoin or 250. So we could see how all see how low these numbers are right here. See how there's barely any, we're looking at anywhere between like 6 to like 20. And then look at how big these numbers get right here. So what this showed is a bunch of shorts, because I'm looking at the spot market here, but similar concept. A bunch of shorts came in, or people selling into the lows, price stabilized, regained, retested, and look, you had your long opportunity right there. So whoever asked that about the Trading Light, that was basically what I was referencing. And I'm just going in very brief. Obviously, this is something that can take a 10-hour live stream to talk about this all. But more so, this is also why I bought XRP when I did. We could see this is when the whole market tanked and Bitcoin hit 90K. Look at these buy orders that were sitting there forever. I mean, how much more obvious can you get? It's like we were falling this whole time. We had no cluster of orders. Right when we hit this cluster of orders, what happened? We had a bunch of selling imbalances, and look at how thick these orders are. 200 Bitcoin, 200 Bitcoin. And this is shorts. So you see all of these shorts came in at these lows, came in there. And sure enough, bam, bounced right back up. And when I was listening to the tape here, shorting, the selling was happening, was accelerating. Price didn't go down anymore. It started going up. Shorts continuing to go in. What was happening is we had passive buyers. These are passive buyers absorbing all of that sell pressure. So that right there is key absorption. So what I'm looking for right now is if we could see something similar to that. The only difference now is we don't have a bunch of stacked orders. So the problem is, we're not going to see a bunch of stacked orders kind of give us that absorption signal. We're just going to have to look for and listen for massive amount of shorts, relatively speaking. So if you go back and you look, when markets are slow, we're trading in between like 20 and 50 Bitcoin orders. And then you look at this now. 600 Bitcoin sold down here, 164, 877 bought. What you want to see is a bunch of shorts come in at those lows, price refusing to react. Right now, that's not happening. Price is still just dead. Shorts are coming in. Price has not reacted bullishly. And obviously I have it shut off right now. I think the tab is muted for your guys' viewing pleasure, or else it probably sound like a war.
Do you normally have it on all day long?
Yeah, I do. Sometime on the spaces, you probably sometimes hear the noise.
That's what I was wondering. Okay, that makes a little bit of sense now. Because I do hear it, but it's very rare. But I do hear it sometimes.
Yeah, and funny enough, sometimes I forget to turn down my volume when I go to bed, and I can hear it in the other room sometimes, like crazy. Like usually the nights are slow, but I'm like, oh, forgot to turn down my volume, and I'm listening to the tape all night. So I guess it's a good way to imprint the patterns into your subconscious.
Dude,
mind.
that's so smart. So how does someone set something like this up if they're watching this and they're like, okay, cool, I want?
Yeah, it's all through Trading Light. It's totally all through Trading Light. They have a bunch of forums, so you could just go research. I spent probably 4 or 5 hours reading all of their forums and all of their guides and stuff, and it explains all these different tools. But the best thing about Trading Light is this tape right here, and then the audible alerts for sure. And then obviously, like I said, the footprints here. So you can't see, but these are the footprints right here. And this is fortunately not enough time on this stream to really go super depth into this. This is probably something I would take probably 10 hours explaining all the different ways to look at the order flow, the different things like that. But yeah, I hope that answers whoever's question that was, Jacob. It was a very brief overview, but it should be enough for you to understand the basics of it.
Yeah, it looks like it did. It's a great explanation. I'll go hear the tape though. Just a minute, so that's funny. All right. So, would you recommend this tool for someone newer into trading? Depends on who you probably are, but yeah, what do you think?
Good question. No, I don't, and that's not to be like condescending, but it's just you need to have a really good understanding of what a market is first, and the basic levels of TA. RSIs, price action, support and resistance, because none of these things matter if you don't have clean levels. None of these things matter if you don't know how to read volume profiles. None of these things matter if you don't know how to use VWAPs, because then you're just looking at air. It's like when I look for absorption or exhaustion, it's at key levels. It's at key levels, and a key level might just be resting orders in the book. So this is when I was looking for absorption, because I knew we had, what was this? We had 3,000 Bitcoin wanting to be bought between 90 and 91 and 90. So that was a key level to me, so that right there is not what we're seeing right now. To me, this is not really a key level. Some people might think so, but we're kind of just in the abyss right here. If this reverses right here, this wouldn't be one of those clean setups. It would just be, there was a tide turn in the market, and, maybe there was some news that came out that, forced the sellers to take a quick break off. So yeah, if you're newer into trading, honestly, no. What I would do, learn price action, study price action. Just spend all your time looking at price action, study just a plain chart, throw in trend lines, learn how prices react on diagonals, throw in horizontals, learn how prices react in supply zones and demand zones. And then on top of that, play around with some EMAs. I like EMAs for trend following, mainly VWAPs. VWAPs are the most powerful tool out there, in my opinion, most powerful indicator. I've said it now for 2-3 months. It's really one of the most powerful indicators. So if I was getting into trading, I'd study price action, study trend lines, study supply and demand zones, and I would study VWAPs. Those are what I would spend months using, playing around with. Then I would start adding order book stuff. Then I would start adding cumulative volume delta, which is this right here, the CVD. Then I would start adding order book delta or order book skew right here, which is also something that is super powerful. I mean, amazingly powerful. And then on top of that all, that's when I would probably, start looking into footprints and the tape and listening to stuff like that.
Very nice. Very nice. And by the way, I do hear the order book a little bit. I think I hear some kind of beeping.
I don't think it's from me, because these are all muted here.
Maybe it's secretly all my Trading Lights order book flows that I have up here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
No, I don't but
maybe there's something happening behind the scenes here. I'm not too sure.
It might be. And we only got a couple minutes left anyway. Looks like there's just a couple last questions here. So
yeah, throw in your last questions, guys.
I've got a question. Not all the buy order bars were hit. Price reversed direction before that. Why? It's my understanding not all the orders were filled if we didn't wick through all of them.
Yeah, so essentially all that meant is there was a lot of support and we didn't need to use it all. You know, there was enough support there. You know, once we filled these what was this? We basically filled 1.2K of Bitcoin, you know, and then look at throughout here, 0, you know. So that doesn't mean you need to fill it all, because if you did fill it all, you might even be questioning, oh, you know, was this support not enough? Is the selling pressure that heavy where these bids can't even hold it? That's a whole other question. So it's never always going to fill all the orders, you know. And then if I go over here to XRP, see if we have XRP up here. Yep, same concept. So just like as I was showing you guys, you see all these stacked bids. That's what I was showing earlier in the stream of as to why I got in a position here. Because I saw all these stacked bids. 14 million XRP was bought. See, we didn't need to go through all of them. We left about 7 million XRP. And that's just basically because the I'm not exactly I forget what I'm exactly trying to say, but essentially sellers came through, they basically met these buy orders, and the sellers pressure wasn't even enough to go through all of the sell pressure. I mean, all of the buy orders. So, you know, it's not the best explanation to your question, but essentially we don't always need to fill all of these, you know, just like a support doesn't need to always hit perfectly. Same concept there.
Another question here. Do we have any big buy orders sitting around 90K Bitcoin, or where are the big orders sitting right now?
Yeah, good question, actually. It's a good way to finish off the stream. Yeah. Binance Spot right now, we have about 850 orders. A bunch just came in here at, what is this? This was yesterday? Oh, no, this was at 12 today. So about 2 hours ago. We actually just had about 400 orders pop up. So 90 to 92K. That's really our last hope until 85K. At least order wise, you know, I'm not looking at anything else. And then let's look over here at Coinbase. I don't think, Coinbase 90K really. Yeah. Really not much until, see, a bunch of orders just got pulled actually. That's not a good look. Look at that. 260 orders down to about 180. So a bunch of 100 Bitcoin just got pulled. So yeah, we're in no man's land right here. If it does reverse right here, that's just going to be because buyers said, hey, I'm going to start bidding in no man's land. This is not a contextual level, in my opinion. Contextual level will be down to like 91, 92. And then obviously if we break 90K, 85K is a given, in my opinion. You know, it's probably going to happen pretty quick.
I see a question here. It might be too long. This might be a question for next stream, but it says, could you quickly explain candle footprints?
Yeah, that'll definitely be probably a something to do on another stream or to get more in depth about. Yeah, but I think Tamed Craziness and Pine V6 for TradingView is killing Mister with the line continuation errors. If you're still watching, can you elaborate on that? Because I'm curious what he's trying to say there. If Pine V6 is going to take away the connection of lines like VWAP show, I'd love to see that. So I'd love if you could explain what you mean there. I'd love to hear it. But yeah, guys, I hope you found some type of education here in the stream. You know, obviously not the most favorite time. It'd be a lot better if Bitcoin was breaking 110K. You know, it'd be super fun. I guess the last thing I'll cover here is, you know, I showed this on the stream here last week, and right now it's starting to play out even more. Let's see if this can load right here. Let's give it a second here. Only bad thing about Trading Light, it's slow. It's very, very slow for whatever reason. I don't know why. TradingView is not slow like this. Even like these agar templates I have are not slow. And if you guys are curious, let's see who's leading this sell off. If anyone's curious, this is when I'd be looking.
Is it Binance?
Kraken, Coinbase, everybody's selling. Everybody is selling to the ground. Let's see who's selling the most though. Looks like Binance and Coinbase are leading the sell off. Yeah, Binance and Coinbase are really shoving to the ground at the moment. But yeah, so the last thing I wanted to show here real quick was this right here was the order book skew. I posted this a week ago, and I said that we were reaching dangerous levels in the order book. So this right here is looking at the skew within 50%. So we could see last time we hit more than 2,000 Bitcoin within 50%. It was this high. We dropped 40%. Other last time was right here. We dropped 60%. The other last time was right here. We dropped 25%. The other time we dropped 25%. And right here, we have that exact same setup. So
That's
very
brutal.
unfortunate. Yeah, very
Oh,
unfortunate.
he responded, by the way. I created code for a personal indicator for Pine V6 for TraderView. It's killing me with the line continuation errors. I created code for a personal indicator. I don't know if that gives us much else information, but
No, I don't think it does. Hey, feel free to DM me. I'd love to hear it
yeah.
because there are some problems with Pine V5 I've ran into, completely unrelated to the stream, but feel free to DM me. I'd love to hear what you're talking about there.
Yeah, this is his Twitter if you guys want to. TraderView 2. He says it requires for new line. Yeah, you may have to follow up in the DMs for that one.
Yeah.
And see
Maybe
Crypto Tea Party to go for XRP. We did earlier in the stream a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think there's any. Is there any point of going XRP when Bitcoin looks like this?
I don't know if there is. He just says you have a take on the Libra fiasco, bro.
Oh wait,
Just more of the same, basically. Like the president of Argentina rugging the coin, people having insider trading. I mean, that's always been a thing. I don't know. It's weird. It's crazy that happened, but
yeah.
I don't know. Not surprised, I guess.
Sorry, guys. I just realized I wasn't even sharing the right tab when I was trying to explain what I was just explaining. You're probably like, what is he talking about? Here's the right tab. So what I was trying to show, I don't think anyone saw this, was the order book skew when we reached basically more than 1,000 Bitcoin within a 50% range, drop 50%, drop 50%. Saw the same thing right here, drop 25%. And then a week ago, I said, we're seeing the same thing right here. And now we're dropping. So this is not good because we see what happens when a big low comes in. Look at how high. More than 20,000 Bitcoin wanting to be bought. Right now, we have more than 2,000 Bitcoin wanting to be sold. So it's the complete opposite of what we're looking at here. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, and you had mentioned something earlier. You were like, we either need insane bullish news like a Bitcoin strategic reserve, or we need lower price action.
Yep.
That's interesting you said that, because just from like a pure retail philosophical or psychological level for normal human beings who are buying, you're like, if you keep buying at 90 and it keeps just not making it past 98, you're going to get a little bit discouraged. You're like, what the hell? I'll just wait till 70s. I will only buy at 80s. Like I'd rather just buy cheaper. Like that's kind of what he's talking about there.
That's exactly right, Cade. Yeah,
that just makes sense. We're like, why would I keep buying? Like it's not doing anything. I'm going to wait.
Yeah, it's the auction market theory. Let's see if I could just pull up. I don't know if there's any good thing just to finish off here. If anyone's watching, definitely look into this. This is something that is really powerful. But basically, auction market theory is an economic theory that explains how buyers and sellers interact to determine prices in financial markets. It's based on the idea that markets are like auctions where prices are set by the highest bid and lowest ask. So if we go back here to Bitcoin, we apply auction market theory. If no new news is pushing us higher and no new information we've seen is pushing us higher, apply the auction theory to it. And what are bidders waiting for? They're waiting for lower prices. Because why are they going to step in? They're not. If we have no new information, why would they step in? That's the auction theory.
Yeah, and a lot of people think that Bitcoin strategic reserve might happen, but it might take a little while, or the news comes out, but nothing really happens for a while, and so people, even the biggest news, might even get eaten up. I think it's the fear for a lot of people, because it's just been every single news. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just like tiny little price action, and now it's getting to the point where it doesn't even last a day. It lasts like 2 hours or an hour, and then it's just right back down where it came. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously, it's just absolutely terrifying watching the 25% drops and all those drops after that. But that's just where we're at,
Yeah, it's not the funnest time here, guys. That's for sure.
Right on, dude.
Definitely not the funnest time, but we just got to keep playing it. It's kind of the way it is. So, hope everybody watching had some type of education here. A little bit bouncing all over the place, but there wasn't too much to really cover. We've kind of just seen the same thing. So
go catch some knives.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Make sure you put your gloves on.
Man, yeah. I mean, look, you mentioned that we didn't talk about much. We covered a lot. I mean, if you guys are tuning into the stream and you came in like halfway through, definitely go back and watch the beginning again. We started a little bit with Litecoin. We talked about some price action. We talked about some ETFs. We brought up the VWAP multiple times, actually. We talked about XDC even. We brought in some really good advice for especially new beginner traders. Talked about the absorption indicator, which I thought was really interesting. And then we dove pretty deeply into the order book. Dude, we hit a lot, honestly.
Yeah, no,
There's a lot more than notes. This was a really, really high educational stream. If the viewers are here to get the number one play of the week, the best trade of the day kind of thing, maybe they didn't get anything out of it. But if you're trying to become a better trader and level up, these are the streams for you. And Dom puts out a lot of educational content on X and YouTube, so totally. I recommend you check this one out again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great points there, Cade. It's definitely more geared towards education. So appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that tuned in here.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Appreciate you coming on, Dom, sharing some wisdom with us, and everyone in the chat. Thank you all for coming. If you enjoy these streams, please do give it a like, subscribe, do all the things. If you're on YouTube, if you're on X, we do all sorts of spaces and streams. Dom's comes on a lot of our Twitter spaces as well. If it's called Market Talk, he's on most of them. And he's given his thoughts just throughout the week as well, just more candid and, well, actually just like this. I mean, they're basically just live and we just have a conversation with other traders. And so really, really cool, helpful information in those. And we run these streams. Next week, I'll be at Denver for ETH Denver. So I don't know if we'll have a stream next week. It'll be a pretty condensed week of spaces and streams. So I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to let you guys know.
Hopefully the vibes are good there.
Yeah, man. I have no idea what to expect, to be completely honest. Usually the conferences, everyone's just hyped to be there.
Yeah.
Price action. I mean, the amount of conferences I've been to where Bitcoin's just in the shitter. It's a lot of the conferences ends up being.
Totally.
So, yeah,
but yeah, we don't push too much Moonboy stuff here, guys. So hopefully that's okay with you. And just be aware of those that tweet in all caps. Those that tweet in their whole tweet is caps saying to the moon. Just be wary of them. That's all I got to say.
Rocket ships. I try to stay away from rocket ship emojis if I can, just because they're associated with like the altcoin pumpers. And dude, they've been calling for altcoin season. Altcoin season begins now with a chart with a little circle drawn. I'm like, bro, you literally posted that last week. Like, what are you doing?
The amount of altcoin season calls we've had is it's pretty laughable. And to be honest, I was looking at a potential alt season going into New Year because of historical data. And right when we got proven wrong on that, I've been muted about that. But those that continue every day to push it, it's like, come on, just move on. Just move on until we get the evidence to say it is alt season.
Yeah. Right on, bro. Well, I think it's a great place to wrap. Again, if you guys want to catch more streams, definitely check out the YouTube channel, check out the Twitters, and we'll see you guys in the next one, fam. Take care. 3